This NBA Playoff Picks edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, golf, MLB, MMA, NHL, and more. Sign up today using promo code SGPN to get a 100% deposit match. Plus, the NFL Draft is coming up, and Old Fashioned Football is giving away some autographed NFL merch. Head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/OFF contest to enter today.
What's up? It's the most must-see WWE superstar of all time, The Miz, and you are watching SGPN, and it is awesome. Let it ride.
Long, Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
Got my NBA shirt on. What's up? Shout out Carmelo Anthony and his time with the New York Knickerbockers. It was fun.
Come on, Ryan. How do you not have a Jalen Brunson shirt yet? How have you not caught Knicks fever?
He's on my radar. If he earns it, I may be interested in not only becoming a Knicks fan again, but also maybe a t-shirt jersey. I'll start small. I don't want it to be
Jersey guy.
This is a little bit more of it's less of a commitment. You don't have to worry about deciding to wear a t-shirt under the jersey. Just go without the t-shirt. Make sure everyone can see your. Sean, you didn't do the pre-NBA show pump real quick.
Yeah, I'm going t-shirt under the jersey right now. The Sixers are in the play-in tournament. If they get into the real tournament, then I will remove the I'll unsheath the guns for the audience.
Well, is this so you don't have to wash the jersey before, like if they don't actually make the playoffs, you're good for another year?
Kaysen in the YouTube chat already saying, Sean, put all your Philly futures in right now. Embiid plus 800 to win Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Well, I don't know where you're looking at, but you can get the Sixers to win the East at plus 850. Philly versus Heat, Eastern Conference Finals plus 1800. I don't know about that, just because the path seems a bit complicated. But we are going to be talking play-in tournament games, futures. We got it all, and we got some special guests from the NBA Gambling Podcast.
Very special.
Before we get to the guests, Ryan, of course, shout outs, game time. Maybe you want to check out some NBA playoffs. Well, I mean, that's the time to check out the NBA, the association, NBA playoffs. They get you ready, get you going, get you psyched for the season. Head over to GameTime.co, promo code SGPN. Get you $20 off your go-to app for last minute tickets. Maybe you didn't think your team was gonna be in the playing game. Now they're in the playing game. You got to go support them. Zone deals, all in pricing. Last minute deals. Again, it pays to be a procrastinator over on Game Time. Wait till the last minute. They got you covered. Sports, comedy, concerts, and much more. All over at GameTime.co. When you use the promo code SGPN. Get you $20 off. Get you set up over on Game Time. All right, let's get to the hoops. Joining us on the line from the NBA Gambling Podcast, Mr. Munaf, the Machine Manji. What's happening, Munaf?
Apparently, the second best podcast on the network. We're guests now coming on to the mothership here. I'll just leave it at that now. Thank you.
Who's the second best?
We're the second best. I mean, I got to give you guys your flowers, but
we're talking about the UFL.
Yes, UFL Gambling Podcast.
Football.
Nipping at the heels of UFL. We're gonna save it. They have the entire league doesn't know what's coming for them on next show. Scott, always enjoy you coming on. Scott Reichel, NBA Gambling Podcast, Tennis Gambling Podcast. How we doing, Scott?
Yeah, doing pretty well. On a bit of a heater in tennis, actually. Swept the lock and dog picks for 4 of the last 5 episodes. So can't complain there. Besides that, though, looking forward to the NBA playoffs. Talk about playoffs.
Playoffs. Nice. Well, first off, embarrassing start to the playoffs, courtesy of my Sixers when they unveiled a mini Allen Iverson statue. I don't know if you saw the statue reveal. It's like, wait till you get the new stadium. Instead, they did an Allen Iverson statue, but it's like a tiny statue. Maybe Josh can pull up the photo. It's Allen Iverson. Like, he needs a giant full size statue. I know he wasn't the biggest player in the NBA, but come on, what are you doing with the small mini Allen Iverson statue at the training facility? Made no sense.
Is it like the Detroit sign that also made some news?
I mean,
recently?
come on, look at this. YouTube.com/Sports Gambling Podcast. It's if it's 3 feet, if it's 2 feet, is it a statue? It's like, come on.
It's like that Penny Hardaway character.
And
like
I realized,
Chris Rock played.
Yeah, little Allen Iverson. And I realize I know they're doing the cornrows and the the headband that he was wearing in the photo, but it almost looks like he's wearing one of those old timey NFL helmets on top of his head. Very, very weird statue. I don't know how I feel about it mojo wise, but we're here talking NBA playing games. We got 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday. Kramer, let's get it going.
Oh, I was gonna say, is this one of these things, Sean? Now that the play-in tournament is regular, it's no longer a newfangled thing.
I like the play-in tournament.
Do we still have to explain it to people? Let's start there.
Friendly reminder: 7 seed plays the 8 seed. The winner becomes the 7 seed.
Okay, easy. That's pretty easy. That's it.
The 9 seed plays the 10 seed. The winner of that plays the 8 seed. Then wait a second. And for them to move past the 8 seed, they have to beat them twice in a row. Correct?
So yeah, you got half of it.
You got most of that right. You were off to a good start there.
Yeah, you got no. So 7 and 8 play each other, and whoever wins from 7 and 8 is the 2 that plays. It turns to be the 7 seed to play the 2 seed. Now the loser of that 7 and 8 will play the winner of 9 and 10. So let's say the 9 seed beats a 10 seed. That 8 and 9 will play each other for that 8 seed. The other 2 teams will go home. So
okay, so I'll try to explain this in like a very simple way in terms of wins and losses. The 7 or the 8 seed have to win 1 game. The 9 or the 10 seed have to win 2 games. That's it.
Right. So okay, for some reason I thought
so. There's no double.
They had to play again.
No, there's no
really
double.
It's just
no.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So they just have to win one of their next 2.
We tried to make it more complicated.
We did. We added another layer and it didn't work out. Very simple. Win, you get in. Unless you're the 9 and 10 seed, then you have to win twice. Problem solved.
I can confidently say others know ball more than I do in this regard. All right, play-in game. So like Sean said, we got 4 games over 2 days. 4:40 p.m. on the West Coast. Tomorrow, aka maybe today, Tuesday, April 16th, Lakers Pelicans in Nolans, -1 for the Pelicans. 224 is the total. Get the old man take out of the way too. Totals are amazing nowadays. I pulled up some of my old spreadsheets from back in the like 2007, 2008 range. Would have broken my model.
Well, this is even with the NBA like trying to make a push for the unders and factoring in playoff basketball, right? And they're still sitting at 2.
The pendulum swings the other way.
Munaf, what do you like here? Lakers Pelicans.
There's been a lot of chatter should the Lakers tank this game to avoid playing the Denver Nuggets, who swept them last year in the Western Conference Finals. But there also there's no guarantee that the Lakers, if they tank this game, quote unquote, are guaranteed to win that second game. So I think the Lakers take care of business here. This line is a little bit telling because these 2 teams just played each other on Sunday. The Lakers absolutely blew this team out in the Pelicans. So LeBron, I mean, we know he's an ego guy. He cares about legacy. If there's any better way for him to cement his legacy, it's winning this play-in tournament and then going in against a 2 seed and beating the Denver Nuggets. But I like the Lakers in this spot. I'm going to take them on the money line here. I think AD and LeBron have a huge game. The key to success for this Lakers team is going to be points inside the paint because the Pelicans really don't have that defense. They have Valanciunas, but he's going to be probably played off the court. I'm going to take the Lakers plus the 1 on the money line here as well.
This one's tough for me because Lakers have kind of owned the Pelicans 3-1 straight up against them. They just beat them in the last game, so it is a little tough, I think, beating a team like this back to back. Lakers closed out pretty strong, 11-3. I think the league would love to see the Lakers and the Warriors in a play-in game, win and get in. You could see they could really hype this up. I don't know. The other thing is, though, matchup wise, I do worry, even though Zion has dropped the pounds, I do worry about him getting in the paint there against Anthony Davis. Scott, how say you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lakers in this one. Munaf mentioned it before that there are some, I'd say, rumors or ideas of the Lakers potentially punting this game, which is why the line opened up Pelicans -1. I have no idea why the Pelicans were favored. I feel like it was kind of priced in. Maybe some Anthony Davis injury question marks because he left the game with a back issue. So we'll see what his story is. And then the more you think about it, why would you leave it to chance? You know, it's one basketball game. We've seen so many runs in today's NBA, 3-point shooting variants, and maybe Steph Curry waiting for you in an elimination game. Why would you want to bother? I understand that Denver's owned you. I get it. In reality, you probably have to be Denver anyway. Probably. So I get you could ignore it. Hopefully they lose to somebody else, but in reality, the main goal is to get in. You got extra time off in between games in the first round. I do think you're looking at a spot where the Lakers are just going to try to win the thing. I don't see them getting cute and trying to blow this game on purpose and leaving it to a one-game potential coin flip. I don't see that happening. I think the Lakers win. The Pelicans are a team that I just think are naturally soft. I'll put it that way. I don't think they're really ready for playoff basketball. And we saw that in the last game of the season. They came out flat. LeBron had, what was it, like 11 assists in the first half or something absurd? Like they just,
13.
The game was over in like 5 minutes. It was just, the Pelicans no-showed it. The Lakers have won 3 of the 4 meetings this season by at least 16 points. 3 of the 4 meetings by 16 points. I just think it's a bad matchup. I'll take the Lakers to get the job done.
I think they have some inside at Iggy on Zion. Maybe they also employ his nutritionist. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this seems pretty obvious. Pretty lopsided action, Sean. Which I guess is
Everyone's on the Lakers.
Yeah.
That to me, I guess, is the scary part. But I think ultimately, I like Scott's point about Pelicans' overall softness, and it's reflected. Their record against Pelicans' record against teams above 500 is really bad. So
also punting in the first. I mean, this is like March Madness. What have they been hanging out with Coach Cal, learning some new alternate strategies on how to fail upward in single elimination tournaments? Yeah, you can't. That would be all time. Like imagine.
No, not. But also, it is all time new NBA. Like trying to, manufacture. I mean, Ryan, this is the league that invented tanking. Come on, we cannot put it past them. But I do think they don't. They're not going to intentionally do it, but it's got to be somewhat in the back of their heads a little bit.
You think you have a better chance upsetting them in the next round versus this round? Like Scott said, you're going to face Denver eventually. You're avoiding a team that you're going to have to play.
Yeah.
Whether you play them early or late. I mean, it's an interesting, I guess, strategy. But yeah, no, that would be silly. I mean, I dare I tell a youth sports story, but
Ryan,
I'll
speaking
tell you
about
what.
youth sports, don't you think your kids? I mean, if they had an opportunity to push back their chores, they would.
Oh, I'm going to tell you a story.
The chores are still going to be there, but the idea of pushing them back is appealing.
We're in the rec league that everyone makes the playoffs. I was the 12 seed. Someone 100% lost to play us in the first round, and we ended up beating them on penalty kicks. Sometimes things work in mysterious ways. Don't ever try to lose on purpose in competitive sports. I don't respect that. Give me the Lakers. Come on, I have realized we only have a couple more years of LeBron.
Yeah.
And every year after this year, it could be LeBron and his kids, which I don't think I can
Bronny James, the next LeBron. Either he's going to be in the NBA or Duquesne.
Have you guys broken down the whole LeBron having to shower with his kid element of them being on the same team? It's very awkward.
You might have to bring on like Ken Griffey Jr. as a guest if you want perspective on that, because I can't help you there. But
great one. Nice job, Scott. Sorry, 7-10 on the West Coast. Warriors, Kings. Kings plus 2.5 there at home. I think that's 2.5 at home. 223.5 is the total. Scott, what are we doing? I have this future on the Warriors to make the playoffs. The last time I talked to, I think it was just Scott doesn't get credit for this because I think it was Munaf and Terrell. But how am I looking there on the old Warriors to make the playoffs?
Well, I have to ask what odds you actually got on that pick.
Probably not good. I will look it up as you're talking.
Because it's
I think
basically
it's
because right now you have a 2-pick parlay to make the playoffs. That's why I'm asking if you had to compare the actual parlay odds to what you have. I
They're
don't know
probably
if you
better.
got good odds or bad odds. So that
I
kind of
didn't
depends.
get good odds.
No,
Okay.
I think it was they were like slightly plus odds. They were like
Maybe-
plus 120.
I don't think that's going to be very good.
But no, to Scott's point, now because for them to make the playoffs, you got to probably win. Well, obviously you have to win here.
Why did I put so much money on this? Plus 110.
So I'll
Oh,
put
boy.
it this way. I can't stand both these teams. This game just screams back and forth chaos. And to go through the actual meetings this season, they have split it 2-2. What if I told you that each of the last 3 meetings were decided by exactly 1 point? So
these games have
Got to
been
take
wild.
the points then.
I guess the thing is the Kings are without Malik Monk, and he was a big piece of that offense. I'm not a fan of this Kings team at all. You have the Warriors to make the playoffs. I have the Kings to miss the playoffs at plus 105. So we're going to see what happens, but I'm not a fan of this team. I've roasted this team for the last couple months. They sat at the trade deadline, did nothing. They were basically hoping that last year's success would carry over and then some, but the rest of the league caught up to them. Just simply put, they don't have enough scores on the roster. You're looking at Herter, who's now injured, but I mean, who are they going to rely on? You got Sabonis and Fox, obviously. They're going to put a lot of faith in Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis. Like, I just don't think they have enough guys. I'm going to lean to Golden State in this one because they've been there before, and they did just beat this team in Game 7 on the road by about 20 last year. So I do think they kind of have the mental edge in the playoffs, but I don't really like either of these teams. Full disclosure, I think both these teams are psycho, but the Warriors at least ended the regular season in better form than the Kings. The Kings blew that game to the Suns that they should have won, and they should have been in the 7-8 game instead. Then they ended up beating Portland in the last game because Portland doesn't care. But I'm going to lean Golden State, not going to reinvent the wheel. I am going to lean to the over, though. I really don't know why this total has dropped about 6-7 points. 3 of the 4 meetings this season ended up reaching at least 236. I don't know why this is 223.5. I don't trust either team to play defense. I'll take the over.
Playing playoff basketball. That's why. Yeah, I mean, plus you got to factor in Sacramento building up some negative sports karma as a city, harboring the athletics of Oakland / Las Vegas as they're not able to find a place to play. That's not positive.
I think
Muna, go ahead.
I like what the Warriors have done here in the second half of the season. I mean, I understand they're a flawed team, but again, tons of playoff experience, very well coached team. Klay Thompson has kind of figured out his role. They're 17-4 straight up, last 21 on the road. I mean, to Scott's point, like I wouldn't be surprised if this is a final bucket game. So I don't, that gives you some pause to lay the 2.5, but also let's factor this in. Who does the league want to see in the playoffs? Case closed. Warriors. I mean, I'm serious. Warriors, and I do think I do think the team kind of bonded after losing their coach and made a nice little second half push here. Now we'll see if it's enough to actually roll them into the playoffs and any sort of momentum. But especially for this playing game, especially how well they've been on the road, I'm laying the points here with the Warriors. Munaf?
Yeah, I'm all over the Warriors here. I mean, you guys cover the main points. These are two teams that are going in opposite directions. The bench really shortens up then for the Kings, right? When they're missing a guy like Malik Monk, who's more than likely going to be the 6th man of the year. Scott mentioned they're missing Kevin Huerter as well. And I think Steve Kerr finally got his head out of his ass and started playing some of the younger guys that he needed to in this rotations and in the starting lineup. So, and again, what do the best players in the world do when the moment's the biggest? They rise to the occasion. I think Steph Curry will rise to the occasion here. I know he's been struggling a little bit over the last 2 weeks here, but I think that, again, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and let's not forget they also have Chris Paul, and I think this is the time of the year where it really counts having a guy like Chris Paul in that closing lineup. He's just an extension of a head coach. So if it does get down to clutch moments, I really do trust this Warriors team a lot more than I do with the Sacramento Kings here. So I'm all over the Warriors here, minus the 2.5. I already played the money line when it opened up last night as well.
That's
So
also the scary
sharp.
part, by the way, is the fact that Curry has really not been that good for the last couple weeks, and yet
No.
they're still winning. So they've
Well-
been good even without Curry having these crazy games. So I would lean Golden State. I do like the over, though. I really don't understand the line movement. I don't trust either team defensively. I'll lean Golden State, but I'll put it this way. if the Warriors are up a lot and they blow a massive lead, I wouldn't be shocked because they've been doing it all year long.
Yeah, I mean,
their defense has been what's carrying them, at least on this run.
Yeah.
Your point, Scott, like it's not Curry has been like Chef Curry draining. It's like their offense has been getting by, and they've actually been playing kind of better than better than an average defense for them.
Ever since that white guy from Indiana State stole Steph Curry's name,
Steph Flurry, he hasn't been the same.
His soul has not been returned yet. Yeah,
it's either that or Aisha's not sitting him feed picks before the game to get him going.
Oh wow, they go deep apparently.
Yeah, and in honor of Seth Greenberg, who signed a basketball that sits behind me, gotta take the player he didn't recruit to Virginia Tech and the Warriors. Yeah, narrative based NBA. Come on, Sean.
Golden State minus 2.5. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Let's hop over to Wednesday. The Heat and your Sixers. Wow, Sixers barely. I guess not technically in the playoffs. We can't call this the playoffs, and it's not the same as the in-season tournament. I saw that there was a ESPN flashed a graphic that basically was describing the difference between the playoffs, the in-season tournament, and the play-in tournament. And it's like, come on, guys! Like sports fans aren't that dumb, are they? Heat catching, catching the full 4.5. Some fours out there. 207 is the total. Munaf. Is NBA Sean gonna be pleased with the result of this game?
I think you will be. I think it does come down to the final possession in this game. I think 4.5 is a little too much here, especially for a team like Miami, right? Like this is a team. We talk about a team like the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL. Like when they flip the switch, I mean, they could make a run. Miami's finally healthy. This is a team that, I mean, Scott can attest to this as well, that it's been almost like rocket science trying to go through their injury report, but now they're finally all healthy. They'll be ready to go. I know they got Joel Embiid back, did the Sixers as well, but I think this is gonna be a playoff atmosphere type of game. I think this comes down to the final minute of the game. I do think the Sixers do pull it off here, and they do get the 7th seed in that Eastern Conference. And you take a look at what the Sixers did when at the trade deadline, even when Joel Embiid wasn't there, right? They added some shooting. They added Buddy Hield. They got Kelly Oubre. If he gets hot, I mean, he could throw a ball into the ocean. Tyrese Maxey has been absolutely fantastic as well. The key guy for this Sixers team is going to be Tobias Harris. What can you get out of Tobias Harris? If he's able to contribute and take some of that scoring pressure off of Joel Embiid, the Sixers team is going to be hard to beat. But I think this Miami team, I mean, that Heat culture with Eric Spoelstra, who I think is a top 2 head coach in this league, he's gonna coach these guys up, have a great game plan. At the end of the day, I do think the Sixers pull this game off on the money line, but I'm going to lean here and take the points here with the Miami Heat plus the 4.5.
Scott.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. This really does scream very close game until the very end. I don't see one team blowing the other team out. I think Sean would agree with that. Maybe it's really difficult.
Sixers by 50.
It's very
Sixers
difficult to actually. The thing is, I'm trying to base what happened last year, and the Heat lost the first play-in game.
Yeah.
I almost said they didn't care, but Atlanta kind of killed them. And the only thing that kept them in that game was Kyle Lowry dropping 30 somehow, because I had the under on his points. But the point is they ended up winning the second game anyway, and they made the NBA Finals. So I don't know if it really matters to Miami, because they've been in the spot before where they have lost a play-in game and still made a deep run. And I think we'd agree, no matter who wins this game, whoever loses this game, whoever loses probably beats Atlanta or Chicago. Do we agree on that?
Yeah.
So,
No, I mean, just look at the futures market. It's pretty crazy, right? Sixers and Heat are playing each other in the play-in tournament, and then the loser has to play the Hawks or the Bulls. Sixers are plus 850 to win the East. Heat are like 12-1 to win the East. Atlanta Hawks are like 500-1. Chicago Bulls are 500-1. It's crazy what the pricing difference is. And yeah, I'm obviously gonna take the Sixers. I'm not gonna. Yeah, because you gotta respect the brand.
They've won 8 straight, to be fair. They've won 8 straight to end the year.
They have been incredibly hot. 31-8 with Joel Embiid. I think they're ready to show off what this team looks like without Glenn Doc Rivers at the helm in a playoff game. I think
and Harden.
Yeah, and no Harden. The environment's going to be electric there at the stadium, and I think in the back of the head or in the back of the mind of these Miami Heat players is what Scott just said. Hey, we lost the first playing game last year. No big deal. We're going to play either the Hawks or the Bulls. We got that. So I think it'll be a competitive game, but I do think Sixers get there late. Sixers first half, I think, is actually going to be a pretty strong play as well. They're 16-7 last 23 straight up in the first half. We'll see what it's probably going to be the -2, something like that. I am honestly a little scared of Jimmy Butler because of the chip he has on his shoulder versus the Sixers. That's always a pain in the ass. And Spoelstra is a very good coach. The Sixers, they've been just insanely hot with Embiid, both ATS and straight up. So you got to roll with the Sixers, Ryan, here, laying 4.5.
Nope.
What?
You look at all these donkeys running to the window to lay that 4.5. 70% of the bets and the handle on the Sixers. Are you kidding me? Doesn't Jimmy Butler hate the Sixers because they chose soft ass Ben Simmons over him?
I think
it was either Ben Simmons or Tobias Harris. You can argue who they chose over him. There's a couple of options.
I mean, there's got to be some sort of he knows that executive, that he hates is sitting up in that suite, and he's just. Yeah, good luck. I'll take the points. I'll sprinkle the money line.
Tobias at least plays basketball in his defense.
Yeah.
Can't say the same thing about Simmons.
Gets his cardio in.
Ben Simmons just single-handedly taking down all of Australian toughness.
Scott, are you still considering a Ben Simmons jersey for your Brooklyn Nets?
Maybe if I lose at a fantasy football league and that's my punishment. But no, I'm not exactly planning on that. Truth is, for the Nets, I'm probably gonna have to wait for somebody worth a damn for you to buy a jersey for. So right now I'm gonna wait it out, or I go for an old time jersey. But I think I'm gonna lean to Miami plus the points in this game. It really feels one possession at the end of the day. Do I think Philly's gonna win? I think that they are going to, but this just screams one possession late to me. I'll lean under. I think it's gonna be a physical game. I think it's gonna be, I don't want to say a rock fight, but I see these teams and maybe the refs with the playoff play-in atmosphere letting them play a little bit, maybe a little chippiness to it, which I do think benefits the under in this game. But I'll lean Philly to win. Once again, I'm kind of threading the needle there. If you want Philly, maybe take Philly to win 1-10 by margin. You can probably get a nice price on that in a close game. So I don't mind that angle.
Playoff basketball is back. Well,
Let's go.
Sorry, it's not play. It's play-in basketball.
This is the time of year you're waking up and you're checking that referee report and see.
Just say postseason. Just say postseason basketball makes it easier for this.
Well, Philly fans are very particular, so I want to make sure they get it right, especially while they're standing next to their tiny statue. Atlanta, bad time for people revealing new things. That Detroit sign was pretty hilarious too. Atlanta. Hawks, Chicago Bulls, like you guys mentioned, this feels like just a frivolous game they're playing for no good reason at all. 640 on the West Coast. The Bulls, they're laying 3 points. 220 is the total. Scott, I'll let you go first. We were just talking about how neither one of these teams has a shot to make the real playoffs. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, both these teams suck. This is the problem with the plan. You have too many teams that are playing. These teams should be on vacation already, especially Atlanta. I don't know what they've been doing for the last couple of months, but I think for this one, honestly, just give me the over. It's Atlanta. What'd they give up to Indiana? 160 in the last game? 157? Just give me the over. Sorry, I'll let you make a point on their defense. It's really bad.
No, it's just been horrific. And it's weird. If Trae Young didn't come back, I think Atlanta as a dog is kind of interesting. But now that Trae Young's back, it just really throws off the mojo of this team. I thought they had a little bit of something going with Murray and no Trae Young. I like that version of their team better. Certainly their defense all over the map, but I think I got to take Chicago just to fade Atlanta. I mean, Munaf, any reason to take Atlanta here in the points?
I mean, when you get Trae Young back, it's funny that immediately they start giving up points again. Chicago's obviously the way better defensive team. You have Alex Caruso. I think that'll be able to slow down either Trae Young or DeJounte Murray in this game. DeMar DeRozan's at mid-range, King. And again, the Hawks are also dealing with some front court injuries, right? They're going to be without Jalen Johnson. They're going to be without Onyeka Okongwu. So I think it's a lot to ask for guys like Clint Capella and DeAndre Hunter to step up in those spots. But I think that for the Chicago Bulls here being at home, I mean, they have young guys that have really stepped up in the absence of Zach LaVine, right? Kobe White's had an incredible season. Ayo DeSumo has stepped up as well. So I think DeMar DeRozan and they get it done here. I'll lay the 3 here with the Chicago Bulls. I think Atlanta's just ready to go home. I don't trust them to play defense.
You know what? I'll take a spin here. I don't want to take all chalk. Give me Atlanta. Why not?
Ooh.
Both these teams are terrible. I think my favorite part of the Bulls is that they were playing the Sunday game against the Knicks, where the Knicks arguably should have been trying to lose. The game went to overtime. They won anyway. The announcers are talking about how the Bulls are so experienced in these close games. They've had so many close games. That should help them. I'm like, they're 4 under. They don't win many of these games.
Yeah.
Like, I understand if they're in them at the end, and DeRozan might get runner-up for clutch player of the year. But this team's not any good. Atlanta's not any good. Give me chaos. Give me over. Maybe Trey puts up like 25 and 12. Who knows? But my favorite play is the over. I think Atlanta can outscore Chicago. The problem I have with Chicago is that besides Kobe White and DeRozan, do they have anybody else that can score on the team? I'm not a Vucevic guy at all. I don't think he's that good of a center. I think most Bulls fans would agree with me. Do they have any scoring depth? Javonte Green's been decent down the stretch, but
no.
I just think that if we're talking about 2 teams that are really not that good, which team can get hotter from 3, I'll take the Trae Young, Bogdanovich team. So I'll take the Hawks to win.
Yeah, it's that. It's exactly what Scott. And this is the ultimate contrarian play.
Oh, Ryan, talking yourself into your Hawks.
Again, not an NBA head, but all I heard earlier was these teams both suck. One team's laying 3, and everyone's betting it. Everyone's betting the Bulls. It's the most lopsided matchup of the play-in tournament, aka the postseason, aka not the playoffs. I'm with Trae Young. It's going to be one of those stupid ones where Trae Young has a great game and then they get absolutely smoked by whoever they play tomorrow.
Atlanta 29 and 53 ATS, the worst team covering spreads in the NBA.
I mean, I honestly, just from being near you, I learned that Trae Young was a massive liability this year. But that's why me and Scott we're zigging when you're zagging.
Ultimate zag. Yeah, no, certainly that is the case there. All right, Kramer, let's talk lock and dog for these.
Shit, did I take a dog?
No, yeah, you did. You took Atlanta.
Took 2 dogs
and the Lakers. Lock and dog for the play-in games. What do you like, Ryan? Lock and dog.
You'd like me to go first?
Sure.
Happy to go first. Lakers lock, dog, Heat.
Heat on the money line. What about you, Scott? What's a lock and dog for the play-in games?
All right, my lock's going to be the Lakers. I'm not really going to overthink this one. I think the Pelicans are a soft basketball team. It's an interesting spot where a lot of teams that we saw recently get players back, and they looked horrible as soon as the players came back. Brandon Ingram came back. How'd he look? Not very good. Pelicans got killed. Trae Young came back. They gave up 157 points, so that's probably not a good sign.
Insane.
And you ended up seeing Cat come back. And how'd that go? They barely beat Atlanta, and they got killed by the Suns in the final game. So I think Ingram coming back can cause some problems, actually, for the overall chemistry and cohesion of the offense. And we saw Zion struggle against the Lakers because they sagged off of him, and they basically said, you want to challenge Anthony Davis? Good luck.
Yeah.
And he's not really a finesse player, so his jump shot isn't exactly there. Give me the Lakers. I don't buy into the punt philosophy to avoid Denver. I don't see that happening. I think they're going to win the game. I think New Orleans, once again, is a soft team that we saw get punched in the mouth on Sunday. I see a pretty similar story there. Give me the Lakers to get the job done. It's also pretty telling. You mentioned the spread's a bit trappy. It was +1 Lakers. Now it's -1. So the line has moved 2 points with a favorite switch, and I still think the line's off. So I'll take the Lakers. That tells me that the market's starting to correct itself. Give me the Lakers as my lock. For my dog, it's either Atlanta or an alt over in that game. I'll take Atlanta.
Ooh.
Screw it. I'll take Atlanta in the game.
Yeah, Atlanta. I mean,
I'm in.
I'm going with Chicago, but Atlanta winning is certainly the chaos.
What am I doing to myself here? Putting all this. Well, I don't need this in my life. This is like
Billy Donovan spent the last week or 2 being rumored to go to Kentucky. No, I think we're fine. I'll go with Atlanta.
Great point. He was down there in Kentucky drinking that bourbon, hobnobbing.
My lock, it's easy. Play the song. Give me the Sixers. They roll. Easy money. -4.5. My dog, I'm gonna call it the NBA ratings parlay. So
Okay.
Golden State laying the points parlayed with Lakers. So basically, the NBA is not letting two massive stars, massive markets, not get into the playoffs. And maybe they would, maybe they would win. Golden State needs the win, and Lakers, I think, get the win. So yeah, got me Golden State covering parlay with the Lakers for my dog play. Munaf, what do you
But
like
wouldn't the
here?
league be better off if the Lakers lost the game for your conspiracy theory because they'd face off against each other in the first round in the
True,
play-in?
and I was thinking about that, but then that means ultimately one of them
One of them
wouldn't-
loses.
Yeah, one of them wouldn't
Yeah.
be in for the multi-game series. So they need the games. They need at least 4 games of LeBron and 4 games of Steph Curry. They've had those ads sold. Sabonis isn't selling ads. I'll tell you that much. Munaf? No
Lock.
offense, Sabonis seems like a good player.
Yeah, lock. Give me the Lakers. I think they get it done. I think they stomp
Uh-oh.
this team. For my dog, I think this is where Steph Curry gets right. 40 plus for Steph Curry at 4-1.
Ooh, okay. Steph 40 plus. Sorry, what was that price?
4-1.
Oh, a little plus 400 money line dog. I like that. Perfect transition to talk about Underdog Fantasy. Of course, go over there, get a little NBA pick'em going. Get your first deposit. Promo code SGPN. First deposit match up to $100. Promo code SGPN. I know the NBA Gambling Podcast guys. I check in. I see what's happening. And Ryan, they've been on a nice run with their NBA pick'ems. Why don't we put together a little 2-entry pick'em here? Munaf, you like Steph in a get right game. His higher lower set at 29.5. Maybe we include that. We have had good luck with one higher, one lower. Maybe Scott, is there a lower that is intriguing to you in these play-in tournament games?
The lower I'm gonna have to get back to you on because I just like LeBron
Okay.
assists in this game. So I'll get back to you on the lower,
that's
but I like
fine.
LeBron
That's
assists.
fine.
Put the get the
Harrison
assists in
Barnes?
there.
LeBron James higher 9 assists against the Pelicans Tuesday night. What's a lower? Maybe Munaf, we get a lower in there. What any lowers jumping out at you, Munaf?
I mentioned Scott's guy, Harrison Barnes, lower if he wants to go with that angle.
I thought about maybe
Ooh.
just going Zion. He looked really bad against the Lakers. Maybe just fade him again.
Yeah, to your point, like they're gonna make him win at the rim, and Anthony Davis is just gonna sit there and knock that shit out of there.
Yeah,
so.
he's used to heavyweight. He's playing at light heavyweight right now.
I think this is it's simple, but I like it. LeBron James higher 9 assists, Zion Williamson lower 24.5 points. Nice little higher lower action over on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code SGPN. Kramer, we also got some series prices already going.
I might as well talk through some series that we do know about. I guess 2 of the 4 in each conference. Starting with the West. Sorry, I was just saving the old URL for that. That feels like a lock. That Underdog. And by the way, I would also recommend you hop into the Underdog draft streets. Whether it's playoff best ball or just their kind of daily contest.
Oh yeah.
I will say once again, I'll recommend that the format is a lot more conducive to you winning if you're a TMZ fan, if you're drafting, than if you're building a lineup like DraftKings style. So, all right, Western Conference 6-3 matchup. This has got to be one of the all-time like this. If you put these 2 colors together from these teams, you're in New Mexico. Suns, Timberwolves. The series price right down the middle, -105 for the Timberwolves. Suns -115. Looks like the short favorite for the Timberwolves in game 1. Although I think the plan is we'll come back later in the week and break down the games. And then we got if you want to play the fun spreads, Timberwolves -1.5 is +220. Suns -1.5 in the series is +140. 5.5 is the game total. Heavily juiced to go over. Scott, any thoughts on the Suns and Timberwolves? A rare close potential matchup here. Could go
Yeah,
either
it's
way.
not that common. You get the 6 seed arguably being favored over the 3, or at least the odds being very close. We see it in college basketball all the time when like the 11 is occasionally favored over a 6. How does that go? Unless you're New Mexico, usually the
Yeah.
11 wins. Usually, I feel like I'm going to lean to the Suns here. They've dominated the head-to-head this season. They've won all 3 meetings by double digits. I've been calling the Timberwolves frauds for about 2 months. My thoughts haven't really changed on that. I don't think they're a very good offensive team.
Yeah.
Ant, we know, has the game to drop 30 or 40 at any given time. He also has a lot of really inefficient scoring nights that nobody wants to talk about. But you're looking at who else is on that roster. You have post-prime Mike Conley. Cat's rushing back. We've seen playoff Cat before. What can possibly go wrong there? And he's just coming back. He's played like 2 games. He's coming back from injury.
Playoff
I don't
cat.
think their team's good enough offensively. Now, defensively, they're a very good team. But Durant, I know, has had a bit of a struggle the last couple of weeks. Looked good in the season finale. Booker, we know, has been a very solid playoff player in the past, with the exception of the NBA Finals, but he's still been solid. At least the Suns have multiple options to actually score the basketball. I don't see that with Minnesota. I think Ant has to fully carry this team, and I don't think he's going to be able to do that. Do I think it's going to be a lopsided series? No. I think it's going to be close. I think it's probably going 6. Give me Suns in 6. They've been there before. I like their offense more. I think both teams have issues, but I've been calling Minnesota frauds for a long time. I got to stick with it. Give me Minnesota losing in the first round.
Plus 320, Suns in 6.
Yeah, I'm with Scott. I mean, to me, this in a weird way almost would have been a more interesting series without Karl Anthony Towns coming back, where because there was a version of that Timberwolves team where it was just like Ant putting the team on his back. I don't know if it would have been sustainable enough to win a series, but at least was interesting to watch. And I just don't think their offense is there. The only way I can see Timberwolves winning this game is if the refs really swallow their whistle and let them play super physical against Phoenix. But yeah, I don't know. Ultimately, I think the Suns offense just takes care of business. So I'm with Scott. I like Suns in 6 as well. I don't think you need to take like the Suns -1.5 series spread to me isn't enticing. I just say take Suns -115 and then maybe Suns in 6 there as a little prop. But yeah, I think ultimately Suns come out winning here. Munaf, how say you? Any chance Cat can take them to? I was looking to fade the Suns in the playoffs, but I think this is like the perfect matchup for them.
Yeah, I mean the Suns have figured it out. The final couple months here of the regular season has really been they've been playing some good defense as well. We know what they can do offensively, right? When you talk about Beal, Durant, and Devin Booker, and like Scott mentioned, they have multiple guys that can score the basketball. Do the Phoenix Suns work for the Minnesota Timberwolves? It's only it's only Anthony Edwards, and we'll see what you get out of Karl Anthony Towns. But let's also not forget Grayson Allen has been absolutely fantastic for this Phoenix Suns team. 4 years, $70 million extension that he just signed today as well with the Phoenix Suns. So I just, and again, you talk about conspiracy theories and things like that. Like, does a League One Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal in the next round going up against either the Lakers or the Denver Nuggets? I mean, that's gonna. I mean, nobody's really caring about the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I say all that to say I think it's good. I'm with you guys. Suns in 6, maybe even 5, -115 Suns. I think you slam it.
The National Hockey League allowed Minnesota's hockey team to move to Texas. That's how much leagues give a shit about Minnesota. TV networks, I assume, are the same. I'm with you. I think Scott nailed it. Right. Anytime you see the pressure moving a 6 seed to the favorite, telling you something, got to jump on. So we don't think there's any chance they can steal a game early and maybe get this done in 5.
Who, the Suns?
Yeah.
I mean, Munaf threw that out there.
They got old heads. The old heads understand the difference between winning in 5 and 6 is like an extra 3 days. 3 or 4 days potentially.
I think I'm just picking it close because I still don't trust the Suns team. That's kind of the problem. Yeah. I'd say dislike the Suns less than I dislike the Timberwolves. So I'm taking the lesser of two evils approach. But I saw the Suns struggle early in last year's first round, and then Kawhi got injured. They probably would have lost that series. So I don't exactly trust the Suns in the playoffs. I've seen them get eliminated in embarrassing fashion in games and on their home floor in back-to-back playoffs. So I don't trust the Suns either. I've just seen the Timberwolves in the playoffs. I saw the Grizzlies series. I saw just a lot of really ugly basketball from Towns and company. Yes, they got matched up against Denver. It was a competitive 5. They still lost in 5, but I just think that Gobert's going to have a hard time of potentially switching on to Durant and Booker, and I just see some issues here. So, yeah, I'm going to go Suns in 6, maybe 5 if you think they could steal one, but I still don't trust the Suns enough to maybe win every game on their home floor. Maybe they steal a game at home and then lose a game on the road. Who knows? But I think that the Suns in 6, it's competitive, but I'll pick them to win.
It is still like a 10-point dog too, like 9.5, 9-point dog. 320 feels good. All right, I'm with you guys. Feels pretty boring, but come on, this is a classic NBA regular season try hard versus the team that maybe they'll turn it on, maybe they won't. Next up, Dallas. An hour, Sean. Los Angeles Clippers. We excited about the new venue.
Clip City.
They're taking back the city. They're doing a great job of it. Mark Cuban also making some social media news today, advertising that he plans on paying taxes. Cool, bro. Mavericks or is the series total? It's 110 each way. The total's 5.5, heavily juiced to the over, as these often are. Clips -1.5 plus 190. Mavs -1.5 plus 155. Munaf. I assume you're going to be on Luka and Kyrie, right?
Yeah, you are correct, sir. Clippers are probably one injury away, one play away from Kawhi Leonard and or Paul George going down. And I saw a report just before we got on that there's some concerns about Kawhi Leonard's knee still, that there's significant swelling in that knee. So we don't know how effective he is going to be. I mean, when you get to the playoffs, I mean, Luka has just been absolutely phenomenal for this Dallas Mavericks team. This is a one series I do think that could go 7 games. But I think at the end of the day, when you have Luka and Kyrie, it's going to be very, very difficult for the Clippers to slow those two guys down. And also the additions that they made at the trade deadline, right? PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. I think that only helps this Mavericks team. And they also have the shooters coming off of the bench, whether it's Tim Hardaway Jr., whether it's Maxi Kleber, who can have one good game at least for this Mavericks team, knocking down some 3-point shots. Josh Green has been great for them as well. So I feel like for this Mavericks team led by Luka and Kyrie, this series I think does go 7. But I think at the end of the day, Mavericks do get it done.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Mavericks. I mean, as much as I've made fun of Kyrie Irving a lot over the years, he's actually gelled pretty well with Luka. It doesn't seem like there's any major issues chemistry wise. They're playing really well.
They're like friends. It's weird. I was looking into this.
I totally didn't. I was very skeptical that it was going to work out. They're playing really well together.
He seems enamored by his takes on flat Earth and basketball.
I'm still so mad from last year. Scott pointed it out where, Clippers get up 2-0, and I had a nice chunk of change on the Clippers at a very good positive money price. And then fucking Kawhi, he's out. He's out for this game. He might come back. He never came back. They lost. And I kept telling myself, no, they're fine without Kawhi. They're not fine without Kawhi. This Clippers team, if they have Kawhi Leonard, they're very good. And Ty Lue is a good head coach. So there is a ceiling with this Clippers team. We saw it briefly there in January, where they were for a couple weeks. They were like the best team in the NBA. But again, Kawhi, knee swelling, want no part of it. Give me the Mavs. Scott, how say you?
Yeah, I think I have to go with Dallas. Kawhi's knee is definitely the story. I don't want to back the corpse of James Harden in the first round of the playoffs. I'm not interested, so I'm going to go with the Mavericks. But initially, I thought of kind of the same thing that Munaf thought. I thought it was going to be potentially a 7-game series. And the more I thought about it, the more I think Dallas kicks this team's ass. The more that I think about it. With all the injury concerns that the Clippers have, maybe you could argue that the Mavericks, Luka's had a bunch of great playoff moments. Some of them against the Clippers. He's had nothing to show for it. He's 0-2. They lost in game 6 and they lost in game 7. So I do think I know Luka can't stand the Clippers. I think it's the one team he probably hates the most based on the playoffs and how that's gone in the past. Now he's got Kyrie. Team's been gelling. Clippers are still pretty injured. They basically punted the last 3 games of the regular season because they knew that they were injured and they would rather just rest some guys. Won the division anyway, but still, I think Dallas might win this in 5. I think Dallas, the more that I'm thinking about this series and how they match up, if we think Harden, who was really bad the last month or two of the season, if we think he's going to look like a shell of his former self, we think Kawhi either is barely going to play or not going to play at all. And we think that Paul George, I know he's had some moments in the playoffs. Can you trust him in the playoffs? 50-50. Let's put it 50-50. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Give me Dallas. I just think that this team's playing good basketball. Maybe you can make the argument that Luka should have been MVP. I'm not going to get into that storm, but the point is maybe there's a chip on his shoulder because there's no chance he actually wins MVP. So maybe he puts a statement up where he just dominates the first round. I'm taking Dallas in 5. I think a lot of people will pick a very close series. The odds reflect it. But I think the odds are also expecting Kawhi to play. If I told you that Kawhi was not going to play in, let's say, 6 of these 7 games in the series, 5 of the 7 games in the series, what's the price? Is it minus 110 each? Probably not. I think Dallas is probably minus 150, minus 160. These odds feel off to me. I think the odds are not fully adjusting to Kawhi's injury. So I'll take Dallas minus potentially 1.5 games at a decent price.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the price of Mavs win game 1, win series, it's 2-1. Clippers win game 1, win series, plus 170. And then you look at the value on the Mavericks in 5, because if that game 1 is stolen and they hold serve, now what happens? I feel like that 5 game set is the most likely outcome. So yeah, I'm gonna copy that angle. That's very sharp.
I'm also gonna add in the Mavs in 5.
But I would mostly say this feels like a big bet. Again, NBA outsider, but all I'm reading about is how I'm hearing people who seem to be sharp and cover the game say things like, "Wow, Luka's finally playing with someone," or Kyrie playing some of the best ball he's ever played. Why is this team not live to go deep on a little playoff run? Yeah, and yet we walk into this preview episode and they're minus 110 to beat the Clippers. Are you kidding me? Sean,
And
how
Kawhi's
long
got
have we
knee
lived in
issues.
Los Angeles? We know how this. I was at the game versus the Rockets. I know what this building can produce.
Well, they're interesting because you look at their futures market. They're 8-1 to win the West. So I think there is this idea of like, hey, they get past this Clippers team, which they match up pretty well against, and especially if Kawhi's not healthy. I love Scott's Mavs in 5 at plus 750. I'm going to toss that one in there.
Very sharp.
As well, I think if they get past the Clippers, they could be a problem. I think for a lot of teams in the West, and I think they have enough experience. That's always a big issue. Like, you know, the Thunder, they're the 2 seed. They're kind of fun. They're frisky. They're young. They're probably too young to really make a run.
Thunder or the 1?
What's up?
The winner of this series plays the Thunder. Thunder or the 1? They're not the 2.
Yeah. What did I say? They were the 2. Oh, okay. Sorry. No,
4-5 will play the 1-8.
I guess what I was getting at, just like Thunder in general, inexperienced. So I think they certainly are, number 2 in the odds, I guess. Like, as far as
I do want to ask you though, since I brought it up.
Yeah.
Assuming Kawhi's knee's actually still bothering him, and the reports about the swelling are true, and we're not sure how many games he's going to play in, what do you think these odds should be for Dallas to win the series if you're not even sure Kawhi's going to play half the games in the series? 110 is way off.
Well, do they have a shot if he doesn't play?
I don't think so.
Like it becomes a minus 300.
A shot, but like
no.
I would say like 170 if Kawhi's going to be injured. 170, give or take.
Yeah, if you 100% knew Kawhi was out, I think you could make this minus 200, right?
Yeah, I think so. He might play it a game or two. He's going to try, but if the knee's going to bother him, you saw it last year. You witnessed it. Kawhi plays a game or two. He looks great. Everything falls apart because he gets injured.
Mark Cuban,
but these odds feel off if Kawhi's not 100%.
Mark Cuban pays his taxes. They're advancing.
Yeah, they're good. If you want to go deep conspiracy theory, hey, look, citizens, see this guy who pays taxes? He's rewarded.
We have no idea what that psycho bomber's up to.
Yeah, does Steve Ballmer pay his taxes? That's the question.
He's been paying someone getting this building built out here. So
he's greasing some palms.
Yeah, he's certainly screaming at someone.
All right, so we all like the Mavs. What about the East, Ryan? What do we got?
All right, let's finish up with the lowly East, which seems like everyone's. It's like, why are we even playing the playoffs? Boston's just gonna win the East.
No way.
6-3 matchup first. The Pacers and the Bucks. A good old fashioned Midwestern just means more matchup. Pacers plus 140. Bucks minus 175. Does Giannis not play for the team anymore? What is this about? Over 5.5 is -200. Unders plus 155. You want to lay it with the Pacers, -1.5 games is plus 215. -1.5 games with the Bucks is plus 145. Sean, you seemed eager to say something there.
Oh, well, I mean, you mentioned, does he play for him? He might not, especially game one. I got Pacers 2-1 for the series late last night. I mean, you want to talk about a little CLE?
Wow, whoa!
Because he's dealing with that calf injury, which I think is pretty serious. And then even if he does play, the Pacers have owned this Bucks team throughout the regular season. Now, certainly, I get it; it's the playoffs; they have the experience. But if you're not getting a healthy Giannis, what are we talking about here? I love the Pacers to upset them here. I'll take them on the plus 140 still. I think it's going to be a competitive series, but again, without a fully healthy Giannis, this team has just been out of sorts. I mean, they set some sort of an NBA record with 3 back-to-back losses as double-digit favorites. Now, some of that maybe you could say is fluky, but there is just no chemistry on this roster right now. They overthrew their coach in his first year, even though the record wasn't that bad. They bring in one of the greatest choke artists in NBA playoff history, Doc Rivers. I just don't see the.
It's a massive coaching disadvantage for the Bucks in this game.
I'm all over the Pacers here. They're fun. I like Halliburton. I like Pascal Siakam. Halliburton has had some issues there towards the end of the season. I get maybe Milwaukee turns it on, but it's like a lot of things have to go right for Milwaukee to win this series. I just think it's mispriced. Munaf, how say you?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned right the Giannis injury. It's what's the biggest concern for this Milwaukee Bucks team, and you also mentioned the Pacers won 4 out of the 5 meetings this season, including that in-season tournament, and we just saw a whole bunch of points being scored between these two teams. So I think that theme kind of continues here. If the Pacers are smart and Giannis is out there, they should just run up and down the court and make him, use his legs. And who knows? I mean, we've seen calf injuries before turn into something worse, and God forbid that happens to Giannis. But it feels like that if this Bucks team gets bounced here in the first round, that it could be the end of the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that everybody goes to a different team. But at least for this series, I mean, let's have some fun, man. I'm with you. I'm on the Pacers here as well, man. Give me the Pacers in 6 or 7 games. I just don't think that Dame is a great fit next to Giannis either. And again, you mentioned it. Doc Rivers at the head coach. Give me the Pacers.
Yeah, he's getting up there. Scott, are we missing something?
I don't know if you're missing anything because I don't know how healthy Giannis is. The problem that you run into is that Giannis is a freight train and they give up a ton of points in the paint. But if Giannis is coming back and his explosiveness is compromised, Milwaukee's got problems because defensively, they are not a great team. They've been better with Doc Rivers. They've also been playing slower, so that could be correlated. For this series, I think I am going to lean to Milwaukee. I think the experience matters. I think that Indiana is still a very young team. You mentioned Halliburton, who really has not been great down the stretch.
No.
And I'm still not sold on Indiana supporting cast now that Matherin's out for the year as well. I think Milwaukee just has a bit more size, and I think that they have a bit more overall talent on the roster. I'm going to lean to Milwaukee, but I am going to go with an interesting pivot here. Give me the Pacers to win game 1 and the Bucks to win the series at around 3-1.
Yeah, okay. I see that. Kramer, what are you doing here?
Well, we talk about Doc Rivers as this horrible coach. He's lost in the playoffs a number of years in a row, but he advanced out of the first round. Do you know when the last time Rick Carlisle advanced out of the first round was, Sean?
When they won the NBA Finals?
When they
2011?
won the NBA Finals in
2011. It's been
with
13
the
years.
Dallas Mavericks. After that, lost in the first round, missed the playoffs. Lost in the first round, lost in the first round, lost in the first round, missed the playoffs 3 straight years. Lost in the first round, lost in the first round, got fired, went to Indiana, missed the playoffs. Can he get out of the first round? No. Give me the Bucks. Simple formula.
I will point out one other thing. I'm not a Carlisle guy either. You can argue he's better than Rivers, but you mentioned the numbers.
Yeah.
I thought that was true, the NBA Finals thing. So I'm glad you confirmed that because I didn't have that in front of me. Munaf mentioned before he thought this Clippers Mavericks series would turn into like a game 7, just pretty standard. Maybe if Kawhi is healthy, this screams 7 games to me. This screams Giannis will be injured. They'll struggle early. Then he'll get healthy. They'll have some moments here or there. I see a lot of back and forth. But once again, I think Indiana can win game 1 if Giannis sits. They'll treat the whole series like a marathon, not a sprint. They'll rest Giannis, get him back for game 2. Give me the Bucks 2, lose game 1, win the series.
Let's just give Doc Rivers a 3-1 lead and see what happens.
That's fun.
Yeah, Bucks in 7, right? Plus 280.
And this is an interesting nugget from 2017 to 2023. Home teams in Game 7, 8-10 straight up, 5-13 ATS. So if you
I
get
need the
to
Doc
games,
Rivers piece of that stat.
They call it the Doc Rivers stat. They named it in his honor. They unveiled a mini statue for Doc Rivers at the Gambling Hall of Fame, Ryan. Well, the Circa has the sports gambling Hall of Fame. We need, and it just has sports handicappers in there. We need stuff like Doc Rivers with a 3-1 lead in the Gambling Hall of Fame, like stuff is going to get you money.
Michigan Panthers kicker, all the greats.
Are the Ipe text messages in the Gambling Hall of Fame too, or no?
They should be. Just another credit bump, please. I'm good for it. I know you are.
It's just a plaque that says, "quote Give me one more bump."
I'm really bad at this gambling thing. LOL.
The funny thing is, everyone.
I just discovered international soccer.
I mean, come on, have some winning posture, Ipe. All right. Orlando, the Magic, the 4-5 matchup here, taking on the Cavs of Cleveland. Cleveland minus 195, which, by the way, they just hosted the women's Final Four. Big deal out there in Cleveland. Sports are back. Orlando plus 165 total, 5.5 as per usual. Minus 190 to the over here. Magic, if you want to lay it, plus 260 on the 1.5 game handicap. Cavs minus 1.5 is plus 125. Magic, it kind of, again, outside looking in, a little bit of the regular season, great story, had a nice little year here, maybe a little bit like the Timberwolves, but come into a playoff situation where I'm assuming, and the odds are agreeing that many people are picking the Cavs here. Scott?
I'm going to go Orlando in this one.
Yep.
It's a spot where, first of all, I had Orlando preseason to win the division at 6-1, so I kind of owe it to them at this point to actually back them one more time. I thought what Cleveland did in the last day of the season was absolute bullshit. Just intentionally punting the second half against Charlotte just so you'd face off against Orlando. You put yourself on a collision course with the Celtics in the second round for no apparent reason when Donovan Mitchell's leaving in the offseason. You basically announced your goal is to win one round. And Donovan Mitchell's walking in the offseason. So I thought that was embarrassing, what Cleveland did in the final day of the regular season. I'm going to go Orlando. I don't trust either of these teams at all, but I do think Orlando is a team that chemistry-wise, I think is well ahead of Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland's a good team when all their stars play. That's probably not a good sign. Do I think Garland and Mitchell are a good combo in the backcourt? No. Do I think Mobley and Allen are a good front court pairing? I don't. I think that all four of them together are a mess. So Orlando was not great down the stretch because offensively they have issues. Defensively, though, they're really, really good. Jonathan Isaac might be potentially the best defensive player in the league. Like, I don't think people realize how good Jonathan Isaac actually is. And if you put him on Mitchell for 25, 30 minutes a game, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll tell you right now, that matchup's going to be a lot of fun. But I'm going to take Orlando. I think that for two teams that I genuinely don't like, based on their playoff upside, based on lack of offense and potentially lack of chemistry, give me plus money. I think this line's disrespectful. We saw Cleveland get punked last year to the Knicks in the first round where none of their guys wanted it at all. Mitchell kind of mailed in the series halfway through. Maybe he's fantasizing about Miami weather. Maybe. Because when he loses the series, he's probably going to Miami. So maybe he coasts if they fall behind early. Give me Orlando. I think Orlando's a team that's young, but I think they're feisty, and I think they have the better coach. I'm not a Bickerstaff guy. Give me the Magic at a good plus price.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Scott. I like the Magic in this spot. I like the Magic in this matchup. I like the Magic's defense. I think a lot of the stuff the Magic have done well this season translates to playoff basketball. And now how we're, Cleveland for a while there was like doing very well in the East on a really good run. And it was because they were playing really good defense. They had like they were second in the league, I think, defensive rating, like going into the All-Star game. And then their defense just kind of fell apart. Not playing nearly as good of defense that they used to, I think, and just the soft energy of the way they close out the season. Donovan Mitchell's been dealing with injury stuff. I don't think he's quite 100% either. So a lot of reasons to like the Magic here, especially at the price. So I like the Magic as a dog. Munaf, how say you?
Oh God. This is gonna be the series that's gonna be on NBA TV that nobody will
Yes.
watch.
Yep.
I guess I'll go with Cleveland. I really didn't have a feel for either
Yeah,
side.
you think Mitchell's going to go
this.
crazy? You already made this
again-
case. Just do it already. Just tell me Mitchell's
Yeah,
going
look,
to
I
carry
think
this
it's
team and
Donovan
they'll move
Mitchell.
on.
Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs. I mean, we've seen it with Utah. I
Didn't
just
go
have
well last
concerns about the scoring. Yeah, I don't. But again, that Knicks team was completely different. They had Jalen Brunson there. I don't think that the Orlando Magic have that guy. I don't think there's a consistent score for this Orlando Magic team. I do 100% agree that the chemistry is better with the Orlando Magic as well. But I think for the Cleveland Cavaliers, when you have Jared Allen and Evan Mobley in the front court, I think that'll cause some problems defensively or offensively, I should say, for the Orlando Magic. And they're already a team that wasn't very good offensively throughout the season. I mean, there was time where they were beat up on opponents, and this was a team that was really good at home, right? Orlando. This could be another series that we see. Maybe it goes to 7 games, but
Yeah.
I don't love it. I'll lean with Cleveland here. It's nothing that I love. It's just Donovan Mitchell, I think, for me, has been one of my favorite players to watch in the postseason. And I do think that they did at that shooting, which may be the difference, because Orlando Magic don't have 3-point shooting versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. They added Niang. They added Max Strus. You have Donovan Mitchell there as well. You have some guys coming off the bench as well. So I'll go with Cleveland here. I don't love it, but give me the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I do want to ask though about Mitchell, because we talk a lot about his playoff success in the past.
Mm-hmm.
He beat the Thunder in his rookie season, and then I remember he won a round. It might have been against, I don't remember who it was against, but they lost to the Clippers the round after. Hasn't he lost in the first round like 3 straight times? Like 3 of the last 4? He's been terrible. Like, the team has not won in the first round in a while. They lost to Dallas, and Luka missed a couple games because Brunson ended up having like 40 in a couple of those games. They lost to the Knicks because he no-showed the series last year. I think Mitchell in the first round is kind of an overrated concept. I think he was really good early. His stats were good. His team really hasn't gotten out of the first round that often over the last couple of years. I feel like that's worth mentioning.
I'd tank too if I had to play with Rudy Gobert.
That's fair.
Patient zero, Rudy Gobert.
The NBA I remembered, you got to the playoffs, you got your ass beat, and then the next year you learned from it, and then you advanced. And aren't the Magic making the playoffs for the first year? Don't they have to learn as the young team?
Yeah,
step up the ladder.
But it's not like the Cavs are these grizzled
I hate
veterans.
this price though. Give me the dog. I don't like this price.
Yeah, the
And so
price.
It's
based on the
just
price,
disrespect.
I understand why you're taking Magic.
Yeah.
Do we also take the Cavs lose game or Magic lose game or win game 1 win series plus 390?
It's a good value price there.
Potentially. I'm trying to think if there's any value on Orlando winning in 7. Do I think they can go into Cleveland in a game 7 and win? Because I think it's going to be a marathon. I think it's going to be a very long, very ugly series. I think the unders are going to be the move in this series. A lot of low scoring games. Maybe bet the neither on which team reaches 100 points first. Maybe the neither's worth a look. I'm not sure that there might be a couple of games that like die in the 90s for each side, but yeah, you know what? Let's have some fun with it. Give me Orlando in 7. Orlando goes into Cleveland and wins game 7. Why not?
Plus 650.
I'll
tell you what, if we get some games in the 90s, Colby's going to be back in on the NBA. He's going to all in. Dale Davis clotheslining someone in the paint. Back.
I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think. So Magic win in 7 plus 650. I mean, I like this match. I don't know if it's worth Magic minus 1.5 at plus 260.
So this is definitely the series. They hide that game at like the 4:30 start
it's
time.
NBA TV.
30 minutes
that
later.
Game.
It's that first start.
They're going to be the
on
early game
Saturday.
every day. That game, every game is going to be the early game.
I'll go with the Magic win game 1 in series at plus 390. I think that one's a fun one.
I think the UFL might outdraw the series in ratings. I don't know.
Orlando and Cleveland are some major media markets. No,
dominant media markets. All right, we're gonna give out a lock and a dog for series that we just covered. Of course, a shout out to Unified. That's right. Have you guys checked out Unified Health aka Unified Healing. Whether you're a world-class athlete or a podcaster like me, we all understand the importance of physical and mental well-being, proper recovery for top-notch performance. Look at these NBA guys. Well, not back-to-backs anymore, but they had to play grueling back-to-back 82 games. So it makes sense. Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode. Unified Healing is a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by the Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. If you haven't heard of EE System yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, rejuvenation, and purification. Whether you're here in LA or hundreds of other locations across the globe, access to a center is both easy and affordable. Interested in experiencing the EE System technology for yourself? Go to unifiedhealing.com/SGPN to learn more. Find a center near you. That's UNIFYD healing.com/SGPN. No material testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider. Any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including EE System. Kramer, what do you got? Give us a series and a series lock and a series dog, I think.
The lock is the Mavs. I don't know. That was just if I had to bet on one of these series, and then I guess for the dog, I did like the Suns. I like the angle. I didn't really like either of the East, but Suns and 6 was a fun. Seems like an easier proposition than getting an 8.5 point dog to cover on a Sunday.
All right, so Suns and 6. Scott, how say you? Lock of a series bet and a dog series bet.
Yeah, I'm torn between two. My lock, I'm thinking about either the Suns or the Magic plus 1.5 games. Because I really think that can go 7. I think Orlando's got a shot to win the series. 7 is interesting there. But I think I'm going to go with Phoenix. It's a standard. I don't know if it's a system play, but anytime a 6 is favored over a 3, I'm going to take the 6.
Yeah.
It's just how it's going to go. I've called this Minnesota team frauds. I'll die on that hill. Give me the Suns. Get the job done at about minus 115 as my lock. For my dog, I think I just inverted the Kramer plays. Give me the Mavericks minus 1.5 games at like plus 155.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, that's a good.
Nice little dog price there.
I like that.
I'm with Scott. The fact that Karl Anthony Towns came back, it's not good vibes in Minnesota. Suns get it done. And again, I don't like the Suns for the future market, but I do think they're pretty interesting here in that first series. So I like the Suns. I'm seeing minus 110 right now, minus 115. Still like it. And the dog, I'm torn because I do like both dogs in the East. I do like the Pacers and the Magic. I'll ultimately go Magic at plus 165. Giannis, maybe there's a chance he gets healthy, but yeah, I'll go Magic plus 165. The Cavs defense is falling apart. So that's my lock. That's my dog. Munaf, what do you got?
Let's go Mavericks as the lock. I mean, I'm not going to regurgitate everything. So give me Mavericks on the money line for the series. And then for my dog, Suns win game 1 and win series plus 215.
So you got Mavs and then Suns win game
Suns
1
win game
series?
1 and win series plus 215.
Ooh, I like that too. All right, man. NBA is here. Sixers going all the way. Big thanks to Munaf and Scott for checking in here. Make sure you give them a follow on the NBA Gambling Podcast. Check out their Underdog fantasy entries. They've been on a nice little heater. They got hop in the YouTube. The chat there is nice. NBA Gambling Podcast over on YouTube.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Oh, Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, Stacking the Money Green. He's Ryan.
Nudes in bio.
Kramer. Let it ride.